Have you ever wished you could understand what someone's really thinking, without them saying a single word? Maybe it's the way they cross their arms, the nervous tapping of their foot, or how their eyes shift when you ask a simple question. Human beings speak volumes without ever opening their mouths. And when we learn to read those silent signals, not with judgment, but with empathy, we begin to unlock one of the most powerful forms of connection, the ability to truly see someone. In today's video, we're diving into 6 powerful psychology tricks that can help you read people more accurately, more meaningfully, and most importantly, more humanely. 1. Be open-minded and unbiased. One of the most powerful skills in reading people is learning to drop your assumptions. Simple in theory, but in practice, it requires courage. Because whether we admit it or not, we all carry biases. Shaped by past wounds, upbringing, and personal beliefs, these mental filters distort what we see in others. You might label someone as cold just because they don't smile often. But what if they're just shy or anxious? Without realizing it, we often project our emotions onto others, mistaking our inner discomfort for their intention. Psychiatrist Judith Orloff points out that being truly open-minded means going beyond thoughts. It means releasing emotional filters, like resentment, fear, or pride, that cloud our perception. When we hold on to these feelings, we don't see people clearly. We only see them through the lens of our own unresolved emotions. That's why reading people starts with humility. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with them?" ask, "What might I not be seeing yet?" This shift opens up space, and in that space, something profound happens. People reveal themselves. The best observers don't rush to judge. They stay quiet, curious. They notice tone, energy, subtle tension in the face. Because they're not trying to prove a point, they're trying to understand. So, next time you meet someone, take a breath. Drop the urge to define them. Let their presence speak for itself, because the more open you are, the more people feel safe to be real. And in that quiet, honest space, you don't just read people, you begin to truly see them. 2. Pay attention to micro-expressions. People lie with words, but the face tells the truth. Micro-expressions are those fleeting, involuntary flashes of real emotion that last less than a second. They're raw, honest, and nearly impossible to fake. Someone might smile politely, but for a split second, their face shows fear or disgust. That moment reveals more than 1,000 rehearsed sentences ever could. If you blink, you'll miss it. But if you're present, truly watching, it can tell you everything. The secret is not to stare harder, but to slow down your perception. Breathe. Relax your gaze. You're not hunting for deception. You're listening with your eyes. Micro-expressions are often most visible when there's a disconnect. What someone says versus what they actually feel. A twitch in the eyebrow, a tightening of the jaw, a downward glance. They all hint at emotions left unsaid. When someone says, "I'm fine," but their face flashes sadness, believe the face. Learning to catch these signals requires patience. Start by observing people when you know their emotions. Watch films on mute, study interviews, or simply watch your loved ones closely. Over time, you'll notice how truth leaks out in the smallest ways. Because human emotion is not a script, it's a pulse. And when you tune into those subtle pulses, you stop hearing what people want you to hear. You begin hearing what they need you to understand. 3. Watch body language, not just words. Words are crafted, but the body speaks without permission. A person may say, "I'm confident," but if their shoulders are slouched, arms crossed, and feet angled away, you know something's off. Body language reveals the alignment, or misalignment, between someone's words and their truth. We all have tells. A quick glance at the exit, fiddling with jewelry, leaning in or pulling away. These movements aren't random. They're emotional, breadcrumbs. And if you follow them with awareness, they lead you to someone's real state of mind. Importantly, body language must be read in context. A closed posture doesn't always mean defensiveness. It could mean the room is cold or the person is tired. That's why the best readers don't jump to conclusions. They observe patterns. Is this a one-time signal or part of a deeper rhythm? People who feel safe open up, not just with words, but with their bodies. They lean in. Their arms relax. Eye contact lingers. That's when trust begins to show. Not because it's declared, but because it's felt. To read someone deeply, watch where their body wants to go, toward connection or away from it, because the body doesn't lie, it just whispers truths that the mouth is too afraid to speak. 4. Listen, not just to what's said, but what's left unsaid. Real listening isn't about hearing someone talk. It's about sensing what they're not saying. We often focus so much on words that we miss the silences. But silence carries meaning. Pauses, hesitations, or the sudden change in tone. All of it is communication. All of it is truth, echoing beneath the surface. A person might speak confidently but avoid certain topics. Or they may tell you what happened, but not how it felt. What's missing from the story often reveals more than what's told. The emotionally intelligent listener pays attention to the rhythm of speech. They notice where someone's voice tightens, where they deflect, or where they suddenly become vague. These are emotional thresholds, moments where truth tries to break through, but fear or shame holds it back. To read people well, don't just listen for facts. Listen for emotion. Listen for energy shifts. Sometimes the heart speaks not through words, but through discomfort, deflection, or quiet sorrow. Ask gentle questions. Let silence be part of the conversation. Give people room to reveal, not just perform, because behind every silence is a reason. And when you learn to hear what's not being said, you don't just understand people better. You help them feel seen in ways they never expected. 5. Understand emotional energy. Every person you meet carries an emotional frequency. Some walk into a room and bring warmth, others drain it with tension you can't quite explain. This is emotional energy, and it's often the first thing your intuition senses before your logic catches up. You don't need to understand it immediately, you just need to notice it. Do you feel calmer around this person, or more anxious? Do their words energize you, or leave you feeling small? Reading emotional energy isn't about judging people. It's about noticing how their presence affects your nervous system. Our bodies are wired for this. Long before humans spoke in words, we communicated through feeling, through emotional resonance. When someone's energy doesn't match their words, pay attention. A cheerful tone with a heavy vibe underneath? That's a sign. A compliment that feels like a dagger? That's emotional dissonance. Empaths and highly intuitive people often pick up these subtle cues without even trying. But anyone can develop this sensitivity. It starts with tuning in to yourself. How do you feel after a conversation? Lighter? Heavier? Don't ignore those feelings. They are messages, because emotions don't lie. And when you learn to read emotional energy, you no longer get trapped by appearances. You start connecting with the truth beneath the surface. 6. Watch how people treat others, not just you. One of the most revealing signs of someone's character isn't how they treat you. It's how they treat those they don't need to impress. Watch how someone speaks to a waiter, how they respond to criticism, whether they gossip when someone leaves the room. These moments say more about who they are than any rehearsed conversation. Because it's easy to be kind when there's something to gain. The real test of someone's heart shows up in the unguarded moments, When there's no spotlight, no advantage, no script. Pay attention to consistency. Do their values shift based on who's around? Are they compassionate when no one's watching? Integrity isn't loud. It's subtle. But once you see it, you'll never forget it. And perhaps most importantly, don't just watch how people treat others. Watch how they make others feel, because people may forget what was said, but they never forget how they felt in someone's presence. In the end, the clearest way to read someone is to observe the ripple they leave behind. Reading people isn't about control or power. It's about understanding. It's about seeing beneath the surface, where fears, hopes, and truths quietly live. In a world full of noise, the ability to truly perceive someone is a rare gift, one that begins with presence, humility, and empathy. If this video resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on the people in your life. What haven't you noticed before? What truths are waiting to be seen? And if you found these insights meaningful, please like this video, share it with someone who values deep connection, and subscribe to Factsworth for more content that speaks to the quiet truths of human behavior. Because the better we understand each other, the better we understand ourselves.